What's up, interwebs? It's me, XoXo, and today I'm here to review Battlefield 1 for the Xbox One. Let's get started. I want to start by saying, if you have any negative preconceived notions about Battlefield, be it the campaign or the multiplayer, leave most of that shit at the door. Except about the multiplayer menu. That shit is still a cumbersome, confusing bombardment of information. Because this game, in my opinion, is sort of a rebirth of the franchise. No, not because it has the number 1, and that's typically where lists of numbers begin, but because the team over at DICE seems to have really paid attention to what gamers want in their first-person shooter. The campaign connects emotionally in a way that the last few Battlefields just haven't, and still delivers jaw-dropping moments of excitement and chaos. The multiplayer feels tighter than ever, with the matchmaking working efficiently from the minute the game launched to spot-on hit detection and a mostly lag-free environment, which is saying something because my internet is a dumpster fire. The campaign is brilliantly executed and starts by telling you how awful war is, and then to prove their point, if it even needed proving, tells you that you're about to play a scenario in which you're not going to survive. Because war, motherfucker! It's one of the best ways I've seen a game convey the disturbing reality of ground combat and the inevitability that most of those on the front line will never make it out alive. And that, even though what you're playing is a game, these characters aren't just ones and zeros. These are, and were, human beings that lost their life for what they felt was the greater good. As far as the gameplay itself is concerned, the movement and aiming both feel like they carry weight, as do your melee attacks and the simple action of firing your gun. Part of that is the vibration of the controller and the lifelike animations, but I would argue that the sound design plays a huge role in the authentic feel of the combat. When you fire, the volume of your weapon sound is loud and startling. The impact of your physical weapons, the distant gunfire, screaming soldiers all around you, the overwhelming cacophony of war. And then there's this guy. The stealth element is also well-tuned, and honestly, kind of reminded me of the more recent Far Cry games in the best way. You pull out your binoculars and survey an area, then each soldier and enemy facet you identify is permanently revealed to you by markers above their head and on the minimap. The graphics are some of the best you'll see on a console game, especially given the amount of effects and textures on screen at any given moment. I did notice some rare texture pop in, but it was so infrequent that when sifting through the hours of gameplay I recorded to make this review, I couldn't find an example. The mission structure in this game is also more approachable, in that after mission 1, you can choose which part of the war you want to play and see how it plays out from other people's perspectives in different areas of the world. As far as I can tell, it hasn't been hard to follow the story even when I jumped from Section 1 to Section 5. Then there's the multiplayer. The sweet, gigantic clusterfuck that is 64-player battles. And when I say clusterfuck, I mean that in the most positive way. Because when you hop into, say, a conquest match, and there are tons of soldiers on the map in front of you dying and running around like chickens with their heads cut off, you go, yeah, this is why I'm here. Then you select where you want to spawn, and are thrust into the middle of said clusterfuckery, and it's all-out war. And it is awesome. What I love about the game is that, even if you play the same level twice, it will likely be different every time you play it, based on the people you're playing with, what approach everyone decides to take, which building someone decides to level. Oh, I forgot to mention the destructible environments. As I mentioned earlier, even moments after the game launched, the server connections were rock solid, the hit detection is better than any Battlefield game I can remember, and god damn it, there's horses! Seabiscuit? Other than Conquest, I can't vouch for the gameplay in the other multiplayer modes, but assuming the servers are more or less going to perform the same, you won't have to worry about anything. Anything but these godforsaken menus. If you've been waiting for that new first-person shooter that has an excellent, well-written and executed campaign, and some refined Battlefield multiplayer, this is the droid you're looking for. If you've never been a fan of Battlefield, it may not be your cup of tea, but I suggest renting it to test the waters, as this feels sort of like a refresher on the series as a whole. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and if you're so inclined, check out this other stuff. You guys are amazing as always. I'll see you next time. Later!